I love bumping into a Karen in the grocery store. You see some woman, she's all disgruntled or something. Maybe she sees my badass Make America Healthy Again hat or shirt, and she gives me a look. And I'll just smile at her. I'll say, "How you doing? I hope you're having a great day." Hold the door open for her. Like, what are people going to say about that, right? When people are negative or upset, it doesn't do you any good to stoop to their level. Kill them with kindness, share that positive love and energy with them. You might even get them thinking about their attitude and change their whole day for the better. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crane. Thank you guys for tuning into the message. Today, I got a special episode. I'm going to share with you common questions that I get about my time in prison. I'm going to answer them honestly and to the best of my ability. Prison was the most transformative experience of my life. And a lot of the things that I talk about to this day, that I teach, that I apply to my life, stem directly from that experience. I truly feel like God put me in a situation where I was able to learn everything about myself and about life that I needed to make a massive course correction and find fulfillment and live a life that I'm truly grateful for versus one that I was constantly escaping from and one that I just hated. I got saved, you guys. I got saved. And so my life's purpose is now to share everything and anything I can from that experience and what I've done with my life since that will help you. That's what drives me and motivates me each and every day, because I know a lot of the people listening to this message struggle with the same concepts and things that I once dealt with. And I was able to fix a lot of these issues in my life and remedy them. And I want you guys to be able to do the same, because you're either going to be on the spectrum of happiness in life, and you're either at the back end where you're struggling to find joy, or you're somewhere in the middle where you're kind of just living a life of mediocrity, right? Very few people get to the other end of the spectrum where it's immense joy and gratitude and inspiration and love at the level that I've been able to experience. And that's just the truth. And I've made a lot of sacrifice and commitment to get to this point in my life. And I know it's possible for each and every one of you. And so let's dive right into it. The first question is, Sean, how did you get sober? Well, I got sober. I wanted to be sober for many years. I battled drug and alcohol addiction from 14 all the way until I was 23. And there was little moments and bits in time where I thought, man, I don't want to do this forever. You know, I knew that I wanted to get sober someday because I saw the destruction all around me. I saw people who lost their lives. I had family members who overdosed and died or overdosed and survived. And it was just this constant chaos in my life because of the drug and alcohol addiction I had. I tried to get sober right before I got incarcerated, and it wasn't entirely me being sober. I didn't drink for 10 months, but I was still taking pills and smoking. So I wasn't sober. But it did show me what life could be like if I was to fully commit and get sober. Here's the thing. When it comes to abusing any substance, there's a reason why we do it. Until you're clear on what that reason is and you take steps to fix or resolve whatever it is internally that's afflicting you, it's very hard to get sober. Like, I got high every day and drank every day to numb out my truth. And the truth was that I had parents who abandoned me, that I saw my mom overdose when I was a young kid, you know, that my parents weren't the leaders I needed them to be. All these things I didn't want to talk about. Coming from a broken home, like, I didn't want to talk about those things. I wasn't at a place where I could freely express myself around what had happened in my life. So I would suppress them with drugs and alcohol. I would hide behind that feeling of being high and altered. And so for anyone listening to this, if you're struggling with sobriety, you're not just struggling with an addiction to a substance. You're struggling with some type of trauma or acceptance or something from your past that you haven't fully resolved. You know, that's what happened to me is I finally got put into a jail cell, and I got put in a place where I realized, okay, number one, I want to be sober. Number two, like, this is life or death for me. This is life or death. And very quickly, all the things I didn't want to talk about related to my past or acknowledge, I was able to acknowledge them and talk about them and finally address them for the first time in my life. You know, and the way I did this, I remember I literally sat down in my cell and I wrote my parents letters, forgiving them for all the wrongdoings and things that had happened in my life that I could still be mad about. And I detailed them. I wrote a list to both of them of the stuff that I experienced and saw and felt. And it was the first time I allowed myself to express it and address it. And a lot of times in these types of dysfunctional or codependent relationships that we have in life, whether it's with a significant other, a parent, a friend, we're worried about making them feel bad. We're worried about addressing things that are going to create some type of conflict or issue. But until you're able to address stuff and talk about it and hash it out and move beyond it, it's always going to afflict you somehow, some way. And that's why you see a lot of people, they'll have short periods of sobriety and then they'll relapse, or they'll struggle with some type of addiction their entire life. It's because there's something internally that's still not fixed. There's something that happened in your life that you haven't addressed, you haven't talked about, you haven't healed from. So for me, I was able to heal and let go of years and years and years of anger, resentment, heartache in my jail cell by just finally addressing the truth and having the courage to be completely honest and transparent about how I felt. After that, and wanting to be sober, I finally started to feel different about myself and my life. Honestly, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I didn't realize that I had been carrying around so much emotional turmoil and trauma and pain all those years. I really felt lighter, and the craziest thing is I could feel it so pronounced because I was in jail. I was facing life in prison. It was such a horrific situation, but I felt this weight lifted off my shoulders when I finally addressed the issues with my parents. And here's the thing, all of you listening, no one's going to affect you in your life as much as your parents will. Those are the most transformative years of your life. From the age of about 3 till 7, your whole brain is programmed, the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the world. And a lot of it has to do with the way your parents treat you in that relationship you have with them. If you have a damaging relationship with your mother or your father like I did, it can take a huge toll on you. And if you're not able to kind of process that and understand it and heal and grow through those memories and experiences, they will afflict you for your entire life to the point where you will become addicted to drugs and alcohol. You will self-sabotage. It can completely change the way that you live your life. I was very fortunate that I was put in a situation where I could finally address these things and heal and grow through those memories. And here's what happens. When you heal properly, the pain of yesterday that haunts you, that torments and afflicts you, now can become something that drives you with a sense of purpose. Like for me, becoming a father, becoming a coach and a speaker, my motive, the deep motive and reason behind all the content I put out, sharing this message, being transparent about my past, is to reach other people and ease their pain and suffering and help other people change in a way that's going to lead to a better life for them, because I can empathize with their pain to such a degree. I want to reach other men who are out there not being the best fathers, not present, not purpose-driven in their own lives. And I know that's being carried over into the household. And I envision fixing and helping men change and then the way they show up and lead their families. And I know what it's like to be a kid who just doesn't have his dad there present and being the role model he needs. I remember that pain to this day. And so everything I do is to drive me to ease that pain and suffering in other people's lives. I hope I articulated that the right way, but that still is what drives me to this day. So previously, my pain used to drive me to get numb and check out and get high. Now that same pain drives me to reach other people and make a positive impact because I've healed myself. Now I can be a catalyst. I can share these things transparently. I can be a voice for good. I can use my life experience as an example for others, and I can reach them and connect to them because of that. Whereas in the past, I was still afflicted, so I wouldn't talk about it. So I didn't have the opportunities to help other people. I wasn't in a place in my own life where I could actually be of service and be a good leader because I hadn't healed or fixed myself. I was still damaged, right? So the craziest thing about pain and suffering and trauma from the past is once you heal from those things, instead of them harming you, they can actually become catalysts for good in your life. And that's what I experienced. Sobriety gave me everything. The next question is, how did you get disciplined? Well, I never thought about being disciplined when I was in jail. It was purely survival. You either wake up and you don't do work on yourself that makes you feel proud of who you are at the end of the day, and you suffer immensely, or you get your ass up, you do your hard workout, you read your book, you stay busy, you stay productive, and at the end of the day, you look back on that day and you go, well, at least I made that day count. Yeah, I might be in prison. I might be facing life in prison. I might be hungry. I might be missing my loved ones, but I made today count. I did what I could with my time in this tiny little fucking cell. That's how you keep sane, right? That's how you hold on to your sanity, is you're trying to make sense of why you're in there and what you're going to do with your time to make your life valuable, because if you don't, you start looking at your life as a waste of space, a waste of time. What am I doing here? And that's why guys in jail and prison still get drugs and get high. That's why guys hang themselves with their sheet or commit suicide or attack an officer or get in fights with other inmates, because they're not able to make sense of their life. They don't have a purpose. So it's like you start to freak out and lose self-control. So for me, discipline was a byproduct of creating the internal state, the feeling that I wanted to experience, even in that setting. Once I realized that I could experience joy, inspiration, and gratitude in that setting, I felt like I'd won the lottery. I felt like I figured out secrets of the universe that very few human beings have ever figured out, and I knew that I had tapped into something special. So now every day I had a way to feel the way I wanted to feel, and when I felt positive and elevated, I put forth better effort into the things I was doing, and I could see myself progressing day by day. I was learning new words. My ability to articulate concepts I was learning in my college books or in books I was reading was improving. My memory, my speed of thought, I was doing more push-ups. I was getting in better shape. Like, I felt and saw myself transform in real time. And that completely changed what I thought was possible for that time of incarceration and beyond. And that kind of ties into the next question. How did you stay positive, Sean? Well, I stayed positive by taking positive action. For anyone listening to this, if you want to be more positive, take positive action in your life every day, all day long. If you want to be negative, take negative action. It's very simple. It's like an equation. The input creates the output. If you're putting in positive thoughts and positive actions into your mind, into your life, what do you think the result is going to be? Like, there is very few people in the world taking massive action towards their goals, positive action, thinking positively, who are suffering right now. But on the other end of the spectrum, people who are suffering are those who have negative thoughts that go unchecked. Those negative thoughts turn into negative emotions that turn into inaction or negative action. Like, they're doing drugs, they're eating bad food, they're sleeping in and calling in sick for work. They're not taking their kids to school. They're not spending time with their family. Like, negative actions create negative feelings that create a negative existence. It's that simple. And so next question, how did you avoid negative people? And this is a good one, and this is relevant for a lot of you guys. The hardest thing is when you're trying to change, but you still have family members or a significant other or friends who are stuck, because they're not going to understand why you're changing. They're going to ridicule you. They're going to say negative things. That's just part of the process. For me, what I did in prison was I made it very known and evident who I wanted to be and what I was going to do with my time. I wasn't talking about fights and war stories and drugs. I wasn't putting myself in the mix. I was reading books and working out and focusing on my personal development. So here's the thing. When your intentions are pure and evident for people to see, in the beginning, they might not understand you, but they will respect you for it. And over time, they're going to come to respect you for who you are. They're going to come to accept, like, this is who Sean is. This is who you are. And this goes directly for those of you who have family members who might not understand what your change is all about. I've had coaching clients who tell me, Sean, man, I'm on this great path. I'm eating better. I'm losing weight. I'm sober. But my wife keeps asking me why I'm doing, these Spartan races or these marathons, or why I'm working out so much, telling me to chill, telling me I got to relax. And man, like, no, I don't want to relax. I finally feel alive and purpose driven. And I tell those guys all the same thing. I say, look, they don't recognize who you are right now because they've known you as a certain version of yourself for so many years. It's going to take time for them to accept the new version of yourself. So you either have two choices. You appease other people and give into what they want, and over time you're going to regret that decision forever. Or number two is you follow your heart and you stick to the path that you're supposed to be on, and the people that truly love you are going to eventually support you and understand why you changed. They're going to come to accept this new version of yourself that you've become. So for me in prison, man, it was life or death. I didn't give a fuck what people thought of me. Like, if someone was negative, I would just keep a distance from them. And I like this term, and this is something I share with other people. Kill them with kindness. If someone's rude to you, and you got to do this to an extent. Sometimes you got to stand up and let your voice be heard. But if there's negative people in the world, which they're everywhere, you can either waste your energy trying to fight and battle with them, or you could just kill them with kindness. I love bumping into a Karen in the grocery store. You see some woman, she's all disgruntled or something. Maybe she sees my badass Make America Healthy Again hat or shirt, and she gives me a look. And I'll just smile at her. I'll say, how you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Hold the door open for her. Like, what are people going to say about that, right? When people are negative or upset, it doesn't do you any good to stoop to their level. Kill them with kindness, share that positive love and energy with them. You might even get them thinking about their attitude and change their whole day for the better. Okay, we're going to do a couple more of these questions and we're going to end this episode. How did you believe in yourself, Sean, in such a bad situation? Let me tell you this. One of the best things that we can go through as human beings is being put in a situation like I went through. I truly discovered myself in that jail cell. I found out that I had a lot more fight, a lot more strength, and I had all the attributes that I needed to be successful in life. I figured that out because it was survival. I might have never found out how fucking capable I am if I wasn't put in a situation where I had to tap in to all those mental faculties and inner strengths that we possess. You possess them, the next man, like, look at, everybody possesses these abilities, but most of you will never be put in a situation where you have to fully utilize them. So you just kind of coast. You just give 60% of effort in life. You never have to tap into that grit, that strength, that willpower, that inner belief, that survival, right? That's going to allow you to build your own legacy and empire in this life. And so because of that, most people settle for a life of mediocrity. Prison really, truly revealed to me my true capabilities in life. And for that reason, I'm forever grateful for going to prison and that experience God put me through. And last question I'm going to get into right now. How did you become an entrepreneur? So the funny thing is, like, being a felon and getting out of prison, you don't have a lot of choices. Like, I wasn't going to go down and apply at the 76 gas station, go to Walmart, start handing my application in all these places. In fact, I never filled out a job application ever in my life. I'm not built to be an employee. Like, I'm not a 9-to-5 worker. I'm not one of those people that just show up and check into a job and check out. Now, don't get me wrong. I know how to work hard. I have good work ethic. And if I had to for a time period, I would do so. But I knew that I wanted to be in control of my life. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to do what I was passionate about. Here's the thing. And I'm so grateful that I was this delusional and stubborn. It is very hard to turn your passion into an occupation. Right now in 2024 in America, it's the easiest time that's ever existed in the history of our lives, our world, to do so. But it's still challenging. Like, think about what you're truly passionate about right now in your life. Think about what you just would love to do every day if you were getting paid to do it, and it was exactly what you want to do. I've been able to turn my lifestyle, my passions, my hobbies into an occupation. And that's because I knew that I could help people. I knew that what I had figured out in my own life was valuable. And I studied and researched and worked with mentors and business coaches and found a way to create a life by design where I could get paid to do what I love every day and show other people how to do it in their lives. This is fitness. This is personal development. This is business development. This is how to create the ultimate best life. I teach other people how to do that because I did it for myself in prison with nothing. If I could do it in prison with nothing, then I could teach people out here how to do it in their lives too. And so it was that understanding of how valuable my own transformation was and how valuable it could be for people out here, that was the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur. Knowing that I didn't want to settle, knowing that I wanted to live the ultimate life, and I wanted to truly create a life by design, a life where I could take my passions, my likes, my hobbies, and turn them into an actual business. Here's what I'll tell you about entrepreneurship. Nothing in life is going to test you like becoming an entrepreneur, a parent, or going to prison like I did, or battling addiction. These challenges in my life and overcoming them one by one and not quitting, not giving up on myself have prepared me to not only overcome future challenges, but to achieve massive goals in my life. You know, I was having a conversation with a client today and I said, you know, becoming an entrepreneur is parallel to my time in prison as far as what I'm learning in this time, how I'm having to sharpen myself and develop myself. They're very similar, you know, and anytime you want to become someone great or achieve great things, it's just like the old analogy. Where's a diamond formed? A diamond is forged under pressure, right? It's the same thing as you and me. If you want to become someone great and exceptional, you have to put yourself in these types of circumstances and situations that demand growth, that force you to become a better version of yourself. Like, you have to be so uncomfortable. You're going to go through a lot of challenges emotionally, in your thoughts, in your relationships, like in your life. But it's worth it at the end of the day because I don't want some picture perfect, easy life. I want to have to earn everything that I achieve. I want to fight for it. I want to feel emotions. I want to be in this war, this battle, man. It's fun. It's exciting. It's fun when you're winning. It sucks when you're losing. But at the end of the day, do you want some simple, easy life that was predictable and then you die and you think about what could have been? No, I want a life where I exhaust all options, all resources. I'm all in. You know, so I became an entrepreneur. This is how I became an entrepreneur. I got out of prison, and after 2 months living in a trailer on my aunt and uncle's property, I'm looking around going, fuck this. What am I doing here? This isn't part of the plan. God put a vision on my heart. Like, I know what I want to do. And so I packed all my belongings and took like $700, $800 to my name, and I flew back out to Santa Barbara. I had no place to stay, no car, no job. And that first day that I got there, I had connected with a personal trainer at a local gym. I went there and I met the owner of the gym, and they gave me the okay to start training clients out of that gym. Then I went to my friend's dad's house and I gave him all my money, and he gave me a room for rent. Then I went to my uncle's mechanic, his yard, and I found an old beat up car that he would let me drive around for a couple weeks until I could pay him. So within a 24-hour period, I had a place to live, an old beat up car that would get me from point A to point B, and I had a position as a personal trainer working with clients the next morning at 5 a.m. in that local gym. That was the beginning of me becoming an entrepreneur. It was, I'm all fucking in. I'm going to jump out of the plane. I'm going to figure out how to work this parachute on the way out. And I landed safely, right? About 8 months later, I left that gym and I started my own fitness company there in Santa Barbara, where I started getting clients all over the county, making more money, making more of an impact, and building a positive reputation for myself. And that's how I became an entrepreneur. You know, during COVID, I pivoted and went online, and my business started to grow online. And during the next couple of years, I built a 7-figure business off my phone, helping people change their lives. And just this last year, I expanded my business. Now I have a team of 15, 6 core team members, a bunch of business partners and people that help me facilitate this vision even that much more. So entrepreneurship is about continuing to reinvent yourself, continuing to see that next level of growth, knowing who you have to become, what you need to learn, what changes you need to make to hit that next level. And it's a constant evolution of who you are. That's why I love entrepreneurship. But it requires you to have guts. It requires you to take risks. It requires you to not let fear dictate how you live your life and show up. And that's why you have to have the vision, man, of what you want. And you have to be unwavering in your pursuit of that vision. And sometimes things change and you have to pivot. But at the core of that vision, it's like your desire to become this certain person, your desire to get to this certain place in life. That's what has to drive you every step of the way. And me going to prison, it gave me that thing inside of me that drives me every day, that chip on my shoulder, that burning desire inside of my heart, that deep, profound why behind all my actions. I got it, man. And a lot of people don't in life. And that's why they struggle in their decisions. They're indecisive. They waste time. They make excuses because they haven't clarified what they want and why it's important to them. And the moment you figure that out and you have the courage to go all in, that's when you really start to feel alive. So I want that for you guys. Look, I have a lot more questions that people ask me about my time in prison, how it helped me to become a successful coach and business owner, how it transitioned into me being a family man. I want to share all that with you guys because it's valuable and it's relevant to personal development and growth. So we'll do a part 2, but for here, I'm going to wrap this up. Share it with somebody that needs to be inspired today or wants to hear more of my story, or just wants some more information around personal development and how to crush it and live the ultimate life. All right, you guys, let's go change the world together. I love you.